What's up guys, and welcome to a new video. So today we're going to cover my Stinger build. It is an absolute beast. With everything up and running, we have about 32k life and crazy amounts of damage reduction. It is literally able to face tank everything in the game. I have completed up to tier 131 in the pit with this build, and it could definitely push to 135. Not to mention it can clear pit 100 in 2 minutes or under, and pit 110 in about 3 minutes or under. This build consistently hits in the trillions, and the highest tick of damage that I have seen so far was 28 trillion, which I'm sure with some min-maxing could definitely be brought up even higher. In this guide we will cover everything from the skills used to the Paragon board. Timestamps will be down below if you feel like jumping ahead. At the end of the video there will be a bit of pit 131 gameplay if you want to check that out. This build is pretty much on par with the Crushing Hands build, I would say. Maybe even a little bit better in certain areas. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content just like this, and if you have any questions, let me know down below and I'll get back to you. Anyways, let's get right into it. For the skills used in the build, we have Stinger. This is our bread and butter. It's going to do all of our damage. We have Vortex. We use this to drag all the enemies into groups. We have Ravage. Basically, we use Ravage for two reasons. It gives us vigor regeneration, but on top of that, it makes it to where anytime we use our core skill, we like leap into enemies, and also it gives us minimum ferocity stacks. Right here we have Scourge. We use this for crowd controlling enemies and for a huge damage bonus. Right here we have the Hunter for the ultimate skill. This one's just awesome. It overfills our ferocity stacks by 4, and it causes us to deal 100% increased damage to injured enemies for 8 seconds, and you can definitely notice that against bosses and stuff like that. And then we have Armored Hide. You know, it makes it to where we passively gain 2 resolve every 5 seconds, keeping our resolve up, but we're constantly casting it anyways. And then, you know, it makes us unstoppable, but we have permanent unstoppable, you'll see in our Spirit Hall. Also, it gives us 100% block chance, which with this build, block chance turns into damage. And whenever we activate this, it gives our maximum resolve immediately. As for our choices in the Spirit Hall, up top we're going to take Jaguar. This gives us a ton of damage overall. Down below we're going to take Gorilla. The reason that we take this down below is we get 2 to our maximum stacks of resolve, which with this build also we get damage when it comes to resolve. And then on top of that, it gives us unstoppable permanently, so that's really nice to have. As for the Mercenaries, up top we go with Rahir. Basically we take Rahir because he's going to give us Fortify, and Fortify with this build is more damage when it comes to overpowering, which we're constantly overpowering. It gives us more damage reduction overall. And then for the reinforcement, we use Variana, and the reason that we use her is you can see right down here, Variana's Bloodthirst grants 10% attack speed, and this puts us over an attack speed threshold. Alright, now into the gear and aspects really quickly. You'll see the resistances are capped. Here's all of my stats. And pause the video if you want to check those out. So you can see right here without any buffs or anything, we're at 18.4k life. I like to use the Elixir of Fortitude, and then the Elixir right here, the Redamine Buzz. They both give us life. That puts us at 22k, and then with all of our buffs up from our like resilience and from our runes, we get up to 32k total. So we'll go ahead and jump into the gear and aspects and runes now. Really quickly, you'll see that I'm using Shako and Shroud of the False Death. In the planner, there will be a variant that has no Uber Uniques, so if you have no Uber Uniques, you can still use the build. But yeah, up top right here, we use the Shako. You can see right there. Now, basically, you want to masterwork maximum life anywhere that you can. Maximum life is going to give us a ton of damage overall with this build. You'll see in the Paragon board later on. So you definitely want to go with the Shako, get maximum life, try to masterwork that as many times as you can. Right here into the Shroud of False Death. 1 to all passives is extremely strong for this build. And then you want to try to masterwork that life up. Try to get the GA on the chest if you can when it comes to the maximum life. And then try to masterwork that maximum life as much as you can. But this chest is just really strong overall for the build. Into the gloves right here, you want to try to go with the GA of maximum life on the gloves. You want attack speed and then ranks to core skills, or obviously you can get ranks to Stinger and you'll get a little bit more out of that. As for the tempers, you want to go with barrier generation and basic skill damage. We're going to use the aspect of redirected force right here. Gain increased critical strike damage equal to 66% of your block chance. And there's no cap to that, so we're stacking as much block chance as we possibly can. You'll see right here with this aspect, the aspect of interdiction, gain 12% block chance per resolve stack. You know, we have 19 of them that are up at all times. That's giving us a ton of block chance, which in turn is giving us a ton of damage right here because of this aspect. Now back into the tempers, you see we have barrier generation. And then in the armor, you want to get barrier generation right here and right here. You want to get up to 100% when it comes to your barrier generation, or over if you possibly can. Our barrier bonus right now is at 108%. Because of the node in the Paragon board, we get a ton of damage from barrier and maximum life. So we want to stack that up. Down into the pants right here, you want to get dexterity, maximum life, and then ranks to basic skills, temper barrier generation, and maximum resolve stacks. Now, when it comes to the pants, I would say try to masterwork the resolve stacks on this item, but pretty much everything else you want to go with the maximum life. Into the boots, we have Yen's Blessing. You know, these are awesome, give us all stats, movement speed. The main reason that I use these though is because of the resistance to all elements. You want to try to get a GA right there, and if you do that and hit it a couple times like I did, you will have no problems with your resistances. Down to the weapon, the Rod of Capellic. You know, pretty much all builds when it comes to the Spiritborn are using this. You need to masterwork up your maximum resource a little bit. We need a total of at least 240 or 41 resource so that we're constantly triggering our Banished Lord's Talisman every time that we use our skill. Basically, the Rod of Capellic is going to turn our core skill into a basic skill, and then, you know, when it's cast at maximum vigor, we get damage per every point of resource that we have, and it's a guaranteed critical strike and it's maximum size. But yeah, when it comes to masterworking this, like I said, you want to hit that maximum resource, and then, you know, after hitting the resource, try to hit the chance for core skills to hit twice. Preferably, if you have the GA up top, you can just go straight for chance for core skills to hit twice. As for the runes right here in the weapon, you're going to go with Zolzal, getting that 20% maximum life. That's going to be up at all times, giving us a huge bonus. And then for the runes up in your helmet, you're going to want to go with Pak Q. Basically, this is going to give you the Druid's Earthen Bulwark barrier, and we're going to have it up at all times, and that's increasing our damage by a lot and our survivability. Into the amulet, you want to go with the Banished Lord's Talisman. This is what's going to guarantee the overpowers constantly. You want to try to get the GA of maximum life like I have right there and masterwork that as much as you possibly can. And then you see right there, after you spend 275 of your primary resource, your next core skill is guaranteed to overpower, and your critical strikes at overpower deals 60% multiplicative increased damage. We're always critting with the Rod of Capellic. Now you see when it says when you spend 275, but technically you can take off the amount that it costs to cast the skill. It's like bugged in that way. Now into our first ring right here, you want to get the GA of maximum life, attack speed. Really important, you want to get the lucky hit chance to make enemies vulnerable. It's going to be our only way of vulnerable in this build. As for the tempers, you're going to want to go with resource generation and basic skill damage, and then try to masterwork the maximum life as much as you possibly can. Now into the resource generation, you want to get resource generation on your ring, and then you'll have it right here on your shroud, because with this right here on the Ring of Midnight Sun, you see right there when you critically strike, you regen 50% of the vigor you spent in the last 2 seconds. You want to get your resource generation up to where when you cast Stinger, you're getting all of your resource back every time, so you're constantly overpowering with every hit. But back into this ring right here, we want to go with the aspect of Moonrise. This just gives us a ton of damage overall. 100% multiplier and like 20% attack speed. Back into the Ring of Midnight Sun though, try to get the greater affix of dexterity and then try to masterwork the dexterity if you can. And this is going to be the way that we're constantly topping off our vigor, our resource. And then for the gems in your rings, you either want to get your armor or cap your resistances. Alright, we will quickly go over the skill tree. Right here you see we're going to take whatever up top, doesn't matter, just take any 2 of the basic skills so we can get down to the core skills. Go ahead and max out Stinger. You're going to want to run that back to Enhanced Stinger. And then you're going to want to go to Rampant. Now you see right here, Stinger does 40% multiplicative increased damage. It only hits one single enemy. Instead of echoing to surrounding poison enemies, Stinger now draws from each to hit enemies in the primary area, again for an additional 10% of its base damage up to 5 times. So this is how you see those explosions just going off, the green explosions, and it's actually just building up and doing tons and tons of damage overall. Right here we're going to get Vigorous. Now I have a couple points into this just to make sure that my resource is going to be topped off at all times. You can see right there, casting a core skill increases all of your vigor generation. Put ranks into this just depending on how much vigor generation you need to constantly keep your vigor topped off. Over here, we're going to take Balanced Insertion for damage. Right here, we're going to get Follow Through for damage. Down to the focus skills, just get 1 point into Vortex, or if you have Shako on, you don't need to put 1 point and you'll automatically have it. Right here into Mirage, you're going to run that back to an Unrestrained Power for more damage, max that out. Over here, take Focal Point, run that back to Apex for more damage, max that out as well. Take Ravage and run that back to Measured Ravage. Into the defensive skills, you want to go with 1 into Endurance, so we get back into Perseverance right here, and this is going to give us a ton of damage reduction overall. We have 19 stacks of Resolve, so right here with Shako, you're just going to get 1 point into Armor Hide and run it back to Reinforced. We already have level 5 since we have the Shako on, so that's good. Right here, you're going to take Counterattack and run that back to Reinforced Counterattack. And the reason that we do this is so that we're getting the passive ability that's on our ring. You're not actually going to put this on your skill bar. Right here, we're going to take Scourge and then go ahead and run that back to Adaptable Scourge. Scourge gives us a ton of damage, and then we get some life steal right back here. Down to the potency skills, you're going to want to get 3 into Potent and 3 into Furnace. Both of these are huge amounts of damage for us. Right here, you're going to want to take Ravenous and Oppressive. These are both damage as well for us. Come down into your ultimate skill. You're going to put 3 into Resolution, 3 into Spiritual Attunement, and 3 into Supremacy. All damage and good stuff for us right here. Right here into Hunter, our ultimate skill, you run that back to Exalted Hunter. And then for the key passive down here, important, you want to take Prodigy's Tempo. This is going to give us 2 ranks to all of our skills, and then on top of that, it makes it to where our cooldowns are just racing down constantly. Alright guys, now we will quickly go into the Paragon board. Real quick, don't forget to get your glyphs up to level 46 at the very least. so that they become legendary, and then they get the bigger radius. In the starter board, we're going to throw fitness for a bunch of critical strike damage and get all this dexterity around here. Next board that we're going to come into is going to be the sapping board. Nice multiplier right here. In this board, you're going to want to throw Menagerist. This is going to boost the blue nodes around here, giving us more damage and then maximum resource as well. The next board that we're going to come into is going to be the Viscous Shield board. Now, this is the reason that we stack so much maximum life and so much barrier. We get a huge multiplier. This is like pretty much busted and gives us a ton of damage overall. In this board, we're going to go ahead and throw Spirit, a ton of critical strike damage right here. We get 110 dexterity in the radius as well. And we want to be stacking as much crit damage as we possibly can because we have a lot of multipliers to critical strike damage, which boosts our overall damage immensely. Next board that we're going to come into is going to be the Convergence board. We get a nice multiplier from this. In this board, you're going to want to go ahead and throw Bane right here, giving us nice poison damage, and then a 15% chance to deal double the amount of poison over the duration. And then the final board that we'll come into is going to be the Revealing board. On lucky hit, we have a chance to knock vulnerable enemies down, and we deal 30% increased damage to crowd-controlled enemies. In this board, you're going to want to go ahead and throw Colossal. Now, Colossal is a glyph that gives us a ton of damage as well. You see right there, you deal 2% multiplicative increased damage for each stack of Resolve that you have. And we have 19 stacks up at all times, giving us like a 36% multiplier at all times. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for the Paragon board. There will be gameplay right now at the end if you want to go ahead and check that out. If this guide's been helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave me a comment down below. I'd really appreciate it. Anyways, thanks for watching.